Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Dr. Alan Hyde.
And I'm Don Radin.
Today we're going to talk about some motivation and inspiration. What gets your engines revved up and how to actually take action in your life and keep your life moving in a healthy, positive direction. There's a lot of information on the internet on this one, so we're going to have some fun with it. We're just going to kind of go with what has led us in our lives, what's motivated us, what's inspired us, and we're going to get into the information of the nuance here a little bit. But Don, if you want to kick us off and just kind of like what's worked for you in these realms.
Well, it's to hit the ground running. Inspiration for me was seeing the people ahead of me that had some, success in sobriety that showed the light out of the darkness, and I got to move towards that because they were that beacon. And then in that process, I became one, and in that process, I shed a lot of weight and became a little bit more seamless in this life and streamlined. And then I suddenly found myself also a light, and that's also a motivator. Watching someone's light turn on because of my small little contribution in the big picture of their life has been a chief motivator for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same. It's like moments have always found their way to me where I'll be in a difficult spot and then like a sponsee calls or something like
Mm,
that, or
mhm.
somebody who is seeking me out to be of service. And that gets me going. It alleviates, issues in my life. But there's an important factor too here when we're talking about like staying motivated to action and being inspired by situations and people. Resistances are going to pop up. Procrastination is a big one. Procrastination is not a matter of you being lazy. It's also not an invitation to stop your action. It's just information. That information is that something in front of you is difficult. You may not want to engage in it, but it needs to get done. Um, Motivation requires you to engage consistently, right? We hear this term, be motivated. We've got motivational speakers. It's like, look, the reality is each day you're going to be presented with action. Some of that action is difficult, some of it's painful. But once you've engaged in it, once you've shown and taught your brain that I can do hard things and you've seen it manifest, man, that's a motivating factor to get up and face your day. There's a lot of joy in knowing that, hey, consistently I've been able to get up and do difficult things. And I found that in my own process of healing. I found it for thousands of other people. Is like, put together a plan of action. Some of that action is painful, but if you get up and do it, you're going to feel better. And wouldn't you know, people do, they feel better, and that's fun to watch.
The um, the idea with procrastination, especially if you have ADHD, is a very big challenge to try to overcome. But I will say that resisting information, resisting people who are trying to redirect or point you in the right direction and help you, is more hindering to you. So I would say to not resist the information from other people. Like Alan said in the last video, I go squirrel off and I need people to rein me back in. And if I was resistant to that, I wouldn't change. If I couldn't accept the fact that someone's seeing in me something that needs to be changed, or redirected, I would still be talking about some unrelated topic right
Sure.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, and in these realms, right, like our discussions about mental health, about recovery, action, action, action. It's what you're going to hear in every single video is how to take action. But most people, why they take action is good marketing. That's the day and age that we live in. Dawn and I had this discussion a month or so ago about like the new age discussions on psychedelics. It's like, man, they've just marketed to you. They've made it a beautiful package of how this is going to change your life. And really all it is this new cutting edge way that's a shortcut to feeling better. So most people get motivated by good marketing endeavors, right? That you're told that this is just the new way. It's like, think Ozempic and think like weight loss drugs. There's no quick fix. What we know, and is coming out more, but we knew even before the rush, is that weight loss drugs have heavy side effects effects. People are having stomach issues, intestine issues, they're having brain fog issues, they're having other medical diagnoses as a result of these things. There is no quick fix. Don't let these big companies market to you for you to get motivated into action when we know, right, that there are trusted and proven ways to get better. Community, 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 community. It is how we get better, is together as people talking through things, bringing your unique perspectives. For 15 years, I have built a career on just pointing people to community. And you may say, like, well, why would I pay you just to tell me to get into the community? Well, people pay me because I know how to get them plugged in. I know how to help them remove barriers to get them plugged in the proper places. And I know what I'm looking for, right? So this is why we bring professionals into it. But one of the biggest things that I've learned even about my own motivation is to stop following the crowd that's being marketed to and pandered to, and make my own damn decisions in what is good for me and who I want to connect with, right? There is no miracle cures. There are no miracle drugs. Your problem that you want a quick fix to doesn't have a quick fix.
Mhm.
Motivation and being inspired in life requires the monotonous, boring, daily action that brings you some joy and peace in your life.
Yeah, it's that 1%. It's that 1% correction. I don't have to make sweeping changes to my life, and I can't do it for any length of time. Just think of it, when you're courting someone, all the energy that you pour into the romantic part of that first 90 days, and then suddenly things start to drift off and you become who you really are. And it's because of the energy that you exhibit trying to make this image that doesn't exist. It takes a lot of work. So trying to make those sweeping changes for the rest of my life is not an easy task to overcome. In fact, I wouldn't even try to take it on, because I did that for the first, 40 years of my life, and continue sometimes to try to manage my image. Um, but it's that 1% change, that 1% of I'm going to do a little bit better today, has helped me in so many areas
Mm.
with, even bipolar disorder, or seeking therapy, or eh, branching out and exploring some new ideas that don't emanate from myself, but only a little fraction at a time, because I'll get easily overwhelmed and overstimulated. And I'll get that task paralysis. Um, some people know what I'm talking about out there. And if that's you, it's okay. Just do a little bit. You don't have to swallow the. How do you eat an elephant?
Mhm.
One bite at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cliches on the internet as it pertains to growth and development, and it comes hand in hand with the comparison that we experience on the internet today. It's like, you know what doesn't inspire me is how big the other person's house on the block is, or how nice their car is. What inspires me is sitting in a dingy room in a 12-step meeting, hearing somebody share their experience, strength, and hope, and hearing little perspectives of how their life has gotten better. What inspires me is seeing a kid engage in the things that they find fulfilling, and experiencing joy, not even because they're good at it, but because they're having fun. What inspires me is people who are getting themselves out there and being of service in community to make the ailments and the issues in their community better. Not at a massive societal level, but in their community. These are the things that inspire me. Not comparing, like, oh, do I
Mm,
have enough? Is my car nice enough? Do I make enough money? Can I go on the nicest vacation? None of that gets me up out of the bed in the morning. I've had my moments in life where I can afford the really nice things and do the really nice things. And you know what? Those are just other days, right? We live in a modern age where social media presents people's perfect little lives. And what I'll tell you is I work with people right now who have millions of followers on social media, and they're coming to therapy because certain aspects of their lives are in shambles, right? So you're comparing yourself to somebody who has problems that you would never want to take, right?
mm,
Those things don't inspire me. I protect my social media sphere from all the comparison BS. And we focus here on what is the information, who's engaging with it, how can we improve, relaying information to possibly inspire you guys to not just seek recovery, but take care of your mental health and find some inspiration in your own life. Right? Not all this comparison to what other people have or don't have.
Well, in pursuit of that comparison, what ends up happening is we set these unreasonable expectations. We have these delusions of grandeur, if you will. If you're a digital creator, you release your first video and you think it's great, and you're watching the likes and you get two, not 20,000 like you'd hoped, and you're not viral. That expectation is a huge letdown. How many times have you placed expectations on a movie and you just all the hype, and then you go and watch it and it's terrible? I mean, these expectations are, future disappointments. When if you experience the now, if you can walk through the monotony of self-discipline, then you'll start to see your life unfold in a new, entirely different way, because you're not expecting things to work out. You're eagerly anticipating with an open mind what could come down the pipe next. Those expectations, that grandiosity, that thinking higher of myself than I ought to, or that I'm entitled for good things to happen, um, is always leads me to futility and disappointment. Um, what I would say that is that if you can carpe diem, if you can seize the day, and as TLC once said, don't go chasing waterfalls, stick to the rivers and lakes that you used to. Just enjoy the scenery, enjoy what's around you. In spite of the fact that maybe you've sat on the same riverbank, but it's not the same riverbank. It's a different one. The water's not the same. The wildlife's not the same. Just enjoy where you're at. It's new if you want it to be.
Mm. And whatever your pursuit is in life and the ways that you're seeking to take care of yourself, you're going to have some protection, some boundaries from people who want to complain and they want to vent about things that are unhelpful. You have to be able to contain yourself, your own positivity, your own growth. I used to play baseball and I played for 19 years, and there was always that guy that kind of floated around on any team who wasn't going to make it the long haul, because every time there was downtime, they're like, can you believe coach did that? Or can you believe that we're having to do this? Or I never get playing time, or this was unfair. All right, well, look, life is unfair. You only get playing time if you put the work in and you're better than the next guy, and nobody has time for excuses. And so we contain our positivity, we contain our perspectives. We can take in feedback from other people, but one of the most powerful things that I found in my adult life was, a simple reminder not to engage in gossip, not to take in other people's negative opinions, and not to let that be a reflection of myself. And when I, set some of those boundaries for me, I was able to contain, like, what is my positive growth? What's the real growth that I'm making in my life, and how do I want to go about it today without the opinions of other people that would otherwise be negative? Now, there's a lot of different versions and a lot of different concepts that can be hurtful, harmful, negative, or destructive. And we have to be able to protect ourselves from those things and protect ourselves diligently. Now, if you had to find a different script for all the different types of negativity, that might be really complicated. Good thing is that you don't. There are just certain behaviors you can't engage in. Don't gossip, right? Don't live in fear. Don't have conversations that are destructive. Don't engage with people who are doing destructive things. Stay out of those realms. Protect your peace, and life flows a lot better. And when you stay contained in those ways, it becomes easier to do the hard things in your life, because there's not as many distractions around of people trying to pull you in 20 different directions. So the boundary actually becomes even simpler. It's much more narrow, is that I'm going to stay focused on my path, on my experience, and other people may have a lot of things going on around me, but if I'm focused on my path, I can make decisions more clearly. And it really is that simple. I'm going to focus on me. All right, me, myself, and I. And I'm going to hope that as I do that, I do it as cleanly and as positively as I can, so that I have impact on other people, but I'm not going to steer into their lane and try to do it for them. I'm not going to go over and be pulled into the negativity and the hurtful comments and the hurtful situations, as sensational as that can be. as much as we used to do those things. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to clean my life up and stay here in my lane. If you do that, motivation comes much easier. Genuine inspiration finds you much easier.
And where do you get your information from? Where do you, uh, what do you have as a point of authority to determine whether something's good for you or bad for you? When we're measuring, if we were to measure the width of this table, I'm not going to try and measure it in coffee cups. I'm going to use a point of authority called a ruler to measure the width of this table. And with the flood of information that is coming to us at an alarming rate, how do you filter that information? What is it that you um, are believing in? Because when I first came into recovery, I mean, if you had length of sobriety, I was listening intently. And what I didn't know was the truth from the false from the information that I was getting. Some of it really was destructive, even though their intention I don't believe was destructive. I believe it was kindness and out of their own experience. And humans are generally limited by the sum of their experience. So if someone can just go to a meeting and then just quit drinking by going to meetings, then that's the sum of their experience. I couldn't do that. I needed to actually experience the 12 steps. So, what is my point of authority in recovery? It's the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. For me personally, my point of authority in filtering out good information from bad information is reference to the Bible. But that's not the same thing for everyone. I understand that. But living a spiritual mode of life for me involves that aspect. And I filter a lot of the information that I get against a point of authority because want I'm addicted to dopamine. I want to feel better, not now, but right now, just like everyone else. And that's those dopamine hits of doom scrolling, those seeking out of instant gratification is destructive. It's not being patient and long suffering, which means to endure difficult things. Um, the instant gratification is killing us.
Yeah. We live in a culture too where like things in my field as a therapist and working with mental health have become pop culture, right? So you hear the term validation all the time, and let me be clear, I validate human beings, but I don't validate them in the things that they haven't done. Right? I validate them in things that they do, and I also validate people in the sense that they're human beings and they deserve to be connected, and I validate truth, right? So there's a big difference, I think, in pop culture around what validation is. It's like, oh my God, yes, you're doing things great. Oh, keep doing it that way. But they're actually doing destructive things. Or like, don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do. It's like, look, there's some objective truths and things that are destructive, and I'm going to validate the truth. Right. And when you validate the truth honestly with people, that's a deeper validation of who a person is. People know when they're doing destructive things. The problem for most individuals doing destructive things is that no one has validated the truth, which would then deeper validate what they know, which is, I don't want to be destructive in my own life. See how that could be much more validating than certain experiences that we hear on the internet all the time of like, you're doing great, right? Don't let anybody tell you not to do drugs. It feels good, right? Okay, well, yeah, okay, it feels good, but the destruction it causes in your life, into your relationships, into your financial situation, and anything that you're trying to build is destroyed. It's not if, it's when. You validate that truth, and people know it. They instinctively know it when they hear it. And that's a much more validating experience. And and when we get those types of validations, we can execute on action. We can get into action. And so we want to really differentiate like you don't need validation for the things that you haven't done, right? And you don't need validation for the things that are destructive. What you need is validation of the truth so that you can execute on that truth and live a more fulfilling and beautiful life. These things get muddled up on the internet and your attention is being pulled in 20,000 different directions. And by no means am I going to sit here and say like you have to be listening to us. I'm just going to tell you, On this platform, we're going to do our best to tell you the truth. And the truth is that if you're out there using substances, whether you're an addict or not, you're drinking, you're drugging, you're having binges on the weekend, you're looking at pornography, you are gambling all of your money away, this is not good for you. The truth is that it will cause destruction, that there is no amount of substances that's medically recommended for you. It's all destructive, and you'd be better off to not do it. And by validating that truth, maybe you can execute on that truth and live a healthier day for yourself today. That's the hope.
Well, you're talking about today, and in if you think about driving a car at night and you're driving through cross country and you're trying to cover a great distance, sometimes if you were to stand at your starting point and look ahead into the future, you can't see that far because of the darkness, and b, the rotation of the earth, et cetera, et cetera. The horizon's always moving. But if you pay attention, you're only seeing about 50 to 100 feet in front of you with the lights that are on your car. That's all you can see is that distance. And yet you're able to cover 2,000 miles with just looking 50 feet ahead. And if I can keep to the moment, if I can stay in the moment and be present where I am right here and right now, then my 2,000-mile mark will hit at some point. I don't have to look at the whole distance. I don't have to look at the overwhelming responsibility of driving 2,000 miles. I can just look 50 feet in front of me. And so by staying present, what I find is that time is elastic. It is linear, but it's elastic. When I'm future tripping and I'm looking at the future and that mile marker 2,000, when I'm at mile one, um, the distance and the time that it takes to get there is impossibly long. It stretches my days out. If you're struggling right now today with your days being long and overwhelming, it's because you're not staying right here right now. I will say that when I'm doing practicing presence and in the moment, my days clip by. It's filled with all these experiences that I've been able to have because I was present and not in my head nodding like my head's on a hinge while someone's talking, thinking about what I'm going to say, witty and pontificate about. If I'm present, that conversation goes smoothly. It goes through its natural progression of beginning and end, and my days do the same thing. And suddenly, it's just I've had a fulfilling, completely fulfilling day with the people around me and my experiences because I'm not living in an event that hasn't happened. I'm not at mile marker 2,000 right now. I'm at one. So looking just at what you can do in front of you and be a part of will change your life forever. And I'm not even talking about addicts or alcoholics, just human beings, the human experience. If you can stay present right here, right now, you're going to have a very fulfilling life. It's when you're tripping about what's may or may not happen in the future. I'm not saying don't prepare, right? But in your human life experience, stay present, stay right here and now.
So here's a tool that I use as a therapist. It's helped thousands of people that you can use too. It's the 5 minute rule. I'm going to give you kind of what the sandwich looks like when you're facing a task that you dread, that you don't want to get up and do, but you know it needs to get done. We tell ourselves, simply, I'm going to give it 5 minutes. I'm going to do this task for exactly 5 minutes. When the momentum kicks in, you will find that 90% of the time that you will carry into the task further than 5 minutes to get this thing done. But here's the kicker. Most people get overwhelmed by how big tasks are. So, let's say you're studying, you're in school, let's say you have a big deadline at work that's going to take you multiple hours. The last thing you want to do is find yourself trapped and locked into having to sit down and work on this thing until it's done. You start with your 5 minute rule, you gain some momentum. But what you do is you set a timer and you tell yourself, I'm going to work on this no longer than an hour. Right? or an hour and a half, whatever's reasonable for you. For some, it's a half an hour. But when that timer goes off, I am going to go and I'm going to reward myself. That reward is the break. That reward is, you're going to go and make a nice dinner for yourself. That reward is you're going to go watch a show. It's simple, healthy things that you can do to create a clean break from this task that you're working on. If you do those things, not only will you gain momentum, all right, but you'll have a clear break to where you're not burning yourself out. And the biggest thing in our society when it comes to getting tasks done is that people burn themselves out in the name of things that they don't even find valuable. Right? That they wouldn't do this if it wasn't prompted. And so don't burn yourself out over things that can get done incrementally. Gain some momentum. If the momentum doesn't kick up, then 5 minutes well spent, right? You're on to the next thing. If it does kick in, don't work past a point of burnout. Create these parameters for yourself. And I'll tell you, in just 15 years of working with people, doing these simple hacks, these simple time frame perspectives with alarms help people get tasks done much quicker, much more efficiently with way less burnout. I would encourage you to use these tools. They work for thousands of people just that I've seen. And I got these tools from other people, so we know it works.
And change your environment. And what I mean by that is, if you're stuck in a rut, move to a window that has natural light coming through it. Take 5 minutes, a 5 minute break where you take your socks and shoes off. This is going to sound weird, people, especially if you're scrolling inside with non ultraviolet lights. Is to take your shoes off and your socks off and just stand in grass. Just ground yourself to the earth for 5 minutes. Move your work environment. Change your perspective. You can just change the angle that your desk is, and it'll give you a fresh new perspective on whatever task that you're looking at. For me, it's having multiple computers, and I go from one room to the next. Um, and it helps me shift my perspective. I also have a lot of people, as we've talked about before, who rein me in. Um, but but having this like environmental shift can change your perspective.
Yeah. And shifting away from even stuff like this, like you're watching this on your phone right now, this is a good reminder that when this video ends, put your phone down and do something physical. All right, go for a walk, get some sunshine, do some push-ups or some jumping jacks. Get off the scrolling. Stop doom scrolling on your phone. Stop just scrolling for a dopamine hit. Put the phone down. And this is coming from someone, I love to play Pokemon Go. All right, but sometimes I need to just get outside without my phone. Right, put it down. Enjoy your life. Do something physical. Stop scrolling through your phone. Before you do, hit the like and subscribe button for us so you can be reminded to do that. Because if you don't like and subscribe, you may never see us again. And we're here to remind you to take care of yourself in your life. So, for no other reason than to take care of you, follow us.
Now, that's a very short list. Just like, subscribe, and follow us.
Hmm.
And one of the things that creates overwhelm is when I try to create the perfect to-do list. And I have to be so mindful of this because I do that. I sit down and I write 1,000 things that need to get done today, and I accomplish 3 of them, feel defeated, and then the next day I don't attempt the 997. Um, but what I have found very useful is to create a list of things that I've accomplished. I've got these little legal pads um, that are filled with things that I've done right. It's easy to find things in your life that you've done wrong. It's harder to find things that you've done right in your life. And I would suggest to you that start documenting this so you don't forget. Start documenting your wins, because the losses, again, they can be converted to wins if you look at them properly. But it's the wins that continue to motivate me to do the next one. And so I accomplish much more when I'm focusing on what I have done right than what I've done wrong.
Hmm. So here's some of our intentions for you today to get you moving. If you're feeling stuck, you're feeling like you're in a slump, you're feeling like you need some action. All right. I want you to do 4 simple things today. First thing is find 30 minutes to set aside for a physical activity. Don't strain yourself. This could be a walk. If you're a little bit more in shape, it could be lifting weights. Whatever it is, find yourself 30 minutes to do physical exercise. From there, I want you to either hit your knees in prayer or find some way to do some meditation. If you're not that spiritual, find 30 minutes for some introspection, right? For a way to connect with yourself. Once you've done those 2 things, I want you to look for something in your environment that you can fix, clean, or repair, something you can see physically that's been improved by you in your living environment that you can enjoy. Once you've done those 3 things, you need to look for somebody in your environment, whether it's a family member or someone in your community, to be of service to. When you've done those 4 things, you're welcome to sit and be as lazy or as depressed on your couch as you want, but I just don't think that that's going to be your experience once you've done those 4 things. These are our intentions for you. Get out there and get engaged in your life and get things moving in a positive direction.
Like Alan said, just summarily, is packing into the stream of life. If I, the more that I put into the stream of life from my own personal experience, um, the better my life gets. The quality of my life gets better. I have experienced what Alan's talking about. I was and still am quite an introvert, and I like to recluse. I like to be in my little man cave, but my life has become so much more fulfilling with younger children. We're out in the pool almost every day. I'm getting out in the sunshine. I'm taking part. I'm getting active, and my dopamine levels are naturally increasing, and I'm experiencing life completely different by engaging, by going out in the sun, by taking physical activity. And I'm telling you, the positivity that happens within you, it's biological. I mean, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel better in that sun. You're going to feel better after that walk. I'm not a super athletic guy. I A walk for me is an accomplishment. Being an introvert and afraid of people in the outside, you know, is it's a thing. But the more I engage, the more comfortable I am in my own skin, and the healthier I feel.
Mm. Here's something I wish I would have been told when I was younger. Uh, I used to watch all the rotations of the motivational speakers, right? Their
Mm.
infomercials, their tapes, and then right their talks on the internet. I wish someone would have told me that the internet guru doesn't know what's best for you, that the megachurch pastor doesn't see you as a disciple of Christ. He sees you as a dollar sign to the bottom line for their donation slips, and that you don't have to be pulled in 20 different directions to get simple information of how to take action in your life. I wish that I would have been told to get into therapy sooner than I did, that it was those individuals who are going to give me the hard truths that allowed me to take action in my life and to engage with people spiritually, right? Who weren't trying to get me to financially move in a direction that supported a megachurch, right? I wish people would have grabbed me and told me these things, because I probably would have connected with my spirituality a lot sooner. I would have moved my life closer to God sooner, and I would have taken appropriate action sooner. I did when I needed to, but I wish I would have heard those things when I was younger. The internet is full of information that's going to pull you in every which way. And what I'll tell you is that, from somebody who was a connoisseur and scrolled all of those motivational feeds and scrolled all of those feeds of the pastors in their mega churches trying to tell you their interpretations of the Bible, none of that changed what I needed to be doing in my life to live a more peaceful life. What changed that for me was a therapist who told me the truth, and then people who had lived experiences who told me even more of the truth of their experiences that related to me. And it all was painful, and it all moved me in the right direction. And I wish somebody would have been there to grab me when I was a kid and say, hey, look, hard truth is going to set you free, and people with lived experiences like yours are going to help guide you. But I hope that you hear that today and find some hope in that message.
And, what is the summary of today? It's validating your own self, that you don't need other people's validation, taking action, enjoying life, being a part of your family, your community at large, getting out into the world and experiencing all that is available to you. And you're not, again, you're not defined by your losses. It's your wins that you celebrate, and surround yourself with people who celebrate your victories and comfort you in your failures. So many people we surround ourselves with. I brag about my wins so that I can feel good about myself, which steps on the heads of my fellows. And if they're not friends, they're going to be judging me about it anyway. And if they are genuine friends, they'll see those little wins and they'll encourage me along and they'll celebrate with me. So surround yourself with people who realize that you're not perfect and that you don't have to have the perfect plan. You don't have to have every single thing mapped out. That it's not the end goal. It's the journey. It's the right now. Where are you? Where are you right now as hopefully you're not scrolling. Hopefully you're keyed in right here, right now, and you're experiencing this little conversation. And hopefully it will manifest into one little action that you take. You don't have to shift your entire perspective on life. Just one little change will change everything. If I were to fire an arrow into the air and it had unlimited uh, momentum, and I were to alter it by 1 degree my aim, at first it would look like they're running exactly parallel, but at some point the change is going to be so drastic that you'll see that 1 degree makes a difference.
You don't and I don't need a perfect plan. We just need to take our steps today, single steps. A single step that would help us. All right, week in and week out, we show up and we share this information, not so we can get subscribers and talk on the internet, but so that we can save lives in the programs that we operate here in the Dallas Fort Worth and general Texas area. Every like and subscription that you guys give us on this channel helps us in the initiatives to treat and save the lives of individuals who are struggling with any form of addiction and who are struggling with their mental health. Please consider dropping a like, a comment, or a subscription. Every little engagement helps move us closer to reaching people who are struggling in their lives and offering true, real recovery to these individuals so that their lives can improve. We love you guys. I think that's pretty much it for today, but we hope to see you in the next one.
All right.
Take care.
Peace.